SST-140s. The SST-140s are very similar to the Champs. They're often referred to as the training ground for the Champ class. The boats are similar. They're wood hulls, 17, 18 foot in length, run externally a very similar engine to the Champs. Internally, they're different. It's basically a stock 200 power head on the racing gear case. The speeds are about 10 to 15 miles an hour slower than the Champs. That doesn't mean it's an entry-level class, as the speeds are still around 115 miles an hour. And most of the drivers have moved up through the ranks of the smaller classes, gaining valuable experience along the way.
Well, what's the ground floor or entry level for somebody who wants to get into tunnel boat racing?
Well, there's a few different classes they can get into. Speeds will range anywhere from 60 to 70, 80 miles an hour. And as they progress along, they'll gain that experience, like I said, so they can move up to the faster 115, 120, 125 mile an hour classes like SST and Champs.
15 boats have qualified for the race this afternoon, and the fastest man of those 15 is the gentleman from Rockford, Illinois, who's leading the point standings, Terry Leatherby.
40 seconds, drivers.
Well, it felt good. Anytime he can beat Harley at first, it really does feel well. I'm not sure. I haven't been number one pole St. Louis for a long time, and I'm not sure it's more nerve-wracking being on number one than it is back in the middle of the pack somewhere.
Of course, Terry talking about Harley. That's Harley Wilson, the two-time world champion in this class, who has won 2 races already this season in Augusta and Quad Cities. There's the lineup for the top 15. Leatherby on the pole, Tim Siebold in second, David Lee with a revolutionary new boat that we're going to talk about, Harley Wilson 4.
And fifth is Ron Jarrell out of Arkansas, Chuck Riley out of California in 6th, Jim McKay also from California in 7th, and Jay Price in 8th.
Drivers from coast to coast here this afternoon. Gerald Kowalski out of Michigan, Rick Adamczyk out of New York, Kevin Miller out of Florida, and Lee Holden out of California.
I'm a little surprised the Miller brothers qualified so low, with Mark in 13th, Ken Davis was in 14th, Jim Altang out of Wisconsin in 15th, and the alternate, David Annis.
So we'll have 15 boats starting from the dock with David Annis waiting on the side, and the white flag is up. Official starter Bob Schubert ready to drop the flag any second now. All eyes glued on the flag, and we're underway as we watch a combined total of 3,000 horsepower breaking away from the dock to head down into pin number 1. And we wait to see which driver will get the clear lane to get out in front of the rest of the field. Side by side, there's Leatherby on the outside. Our pole sitter, Tim Siebold in California Gold, and that's Siebold Bill Hull on the inside. And we hope that all boats get through clearly. It's a traffic jam, and it looks like they have, as it's Terry Leatherby on the outside, taking the lead here from Tim Siebold. Now we'll wait, Michael, to see who can cut this corner quickly and grab the advantage to this tough turn number 3.
They went through it together. Terry gave Timmy the inside, but I think he's got a little top end on him. Could pull him down the front stretch here.
Leatherby sets the boat up as he heads down the front straightaway in clear water at the moment.
Look at the way he's got the boat set up. The boat is running beautiful. Very little bit of the water. The gear case and half the propeller and about the last 6-8 inches of the boat.
Man from Rockford, Illinois, taking a look around to see where Siebold is behind him. And it's Leatherby who is starting to stretch it out. He drifts through turn number 3, made it look nice.
Tim Siebold's looking good in California Gold. This is his first year in SST at St. Louis. Normally would run Mod VP as in years past.
And David Lee, the newcomer, coming out of retirement, I may add.
David won in 1976 in the SJ class. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first time he's been back to St. Louis since then.
Well, Lee, the native out of Coleman, Alabama, up into 3rd place. He started 3rd, and he's driving the Ship's Watch Lee boat that he built himself, and he's a tremendous battle right now for 3rd place. There you see Harley Wilson. Harley on the inside, or in the middle, actually, and on the outside, it's Jim McKay. Lee able to hold him off right now. This is a great battle developing.
We sure can't count out Harley Wilson driving that total look boat.
And back to our leader, Terry Leatherby. He has stretched his margin out to 10 seconds over this man, Tim Siebold, who is sitting in 2nd place. Siebold trying to figure out the right formula to get up and move past Terry Leatherby, who is out in 1st place. Leatherby, by the way, won 1 race a year ago. He has won 1 race this year, but he's the points leader on the IOGP Tour for SSTs. And you can see him now coming up through traffic. Decision time for the leader here.
You're right, it's decision time for Leatherby's Tracker Marine. He's got to decide, do I go inside these back markers or do I go outside?
And at that speed, anything can happen. And incredibly, we've lost our leader. Terry Leatherby barrel rolls in turn number 3. He gets up, he's okay. And you can see him standing there with the boats going around. Our leader is out of this race.
Here we have a classic example of a loss of concentration. Terry had a substantial lead over Tim Siebold, and coming down the backstretch, he's coming up on 2 back markers, and he's going into turn 3, and he doesn't know what to do, to go on the inside of Alting or on the outside, and he tries to go inside, gets hooked up in his wake, and loses it. Barrel rolls. He's out of the race.
This SST-140 race has taken a dramatic turn here. After 7 laps, it was Terry Leatherby, the points leader, who had a gigantic 8-second lead over Tim Siebold, who's behind us here in the California Gold Boat. However, Leatherby, who tried to make a pass on turn number 3, had problems, and he flipped the boat over. Terry's okay, but now it's up to this man behind us here, Tim Siebold, for the California Gold team, the local driver, to get out in front and grab the lead and hopefully come home with a victory today here in front of his home fans here in Fenton, Missouri. What a great thing for Tim Siebold now to try to show off in front of his fans. He has a great chance now in this race. He is starting first on the dock, and we're underway, and we start the restart here in the SST-140s. And Siebold and David Lee are going to be the 2 that go side by side here. Well, Siebold on the outside. Lee trying to pick up more momentum. He has found a lane, and it'll be David Lee that'll come through the first pin turn. And it's Siebold on the outside. Siebold now challenging David Lee on the outside.
One of the interesting things about Lee's boat is it's a composite boat. It's the only boat out there that's not a wooden hull in the SST class.
And David Lee, the leader, floats his boat wide out of turn number 3. He has got a 3-boat advantage on this field, as we have completed 1 lap on our restart here in the SSTs. And everybody else coming through the pack, jockeying for positions here. Very important, Mike, in this first lap to set a pace up and try to make hay, as they say, as quickly as possible.
Well, it's a difficult part of the race, the first lap. You got all those boats going in the turn together. It's with all the spray there, it's a difficult time in the race.
Further on in the race, lap 23, we pick it up. David Lee continuing to lead here. Remarkable for this man, coming out of retirement, driving his own boat for the first time really in professional competition today. So it's Lee in first place, Jim McKay out of Modesto, California in second place. Third is Timmy Siebold, and in fourth is Jay Price, the driver from Louisiana. David Lee on the backstretch makes the turn. He's being challenged on the inside now by Jim McKay. McKay, who won in Jacksonville on the first race of the IOGP Tour, is trying to make a move on the inside, and it now has forced David Lee to the outside.
Well, Jim took the inside line there, and he got tied up in traffic, and David got by him again going into 1.
Here's McKay now as they go toe-to-toe, and they've got some traffic to maneuver through a very busy circuit here at St. Louis, and they're going to fight the battle tooth and nail, side by side through the spray as they continue to come up on back markers. And we'll see which driver is able to maneuver better through traffic. There was a problem down here early in the race. We lost our leader, and it's Jim McKay who makes the move, and now he starts to power away from David Lee. What happened?
He got by David. You know, David's coming back after a number of years of retirement, and McKay's been running all year long. He just had the edge.
And McKay really stretching out the margin here as we go into the final lap. Jim McKay on the backstretch has eliminated the competition behind him. McKay very much having it his own way this afternoon. In the final laps, he makes the turn. He has just one more turn to make, and he'll win here in the SST race in St. Louis. But not everything is the way it seems, Mike, as it looks like there was a problem with McKay's engine in the legality department in inspection.
Yes, the inspectors ruled that his engine was not to specification, but there is an appeal pending.
And David Lee, who finished behind him on the water, however, was penalized for hitting a couple of buoys, and that drops him down. And the winner is Tim Siebold out of St. Louis. He picks up his first win on the year. We'll be back with Champ Boat Racing when we return right after this.